So we will start. Everyone has the book? Yeah? Okay, let's start. Sahanavavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Saha viryam karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti 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 Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Breathe if you can. Okay, so let us go into Manah Shodhanam. We are now in verse number 12 and 13. So let us read 12 and 13. That is what we did last time. Just going to move a bit. Okay. We'll read verse 12. It's on my page 36. We'll read together. Ete sarve hi drishyante chitte chalati jagrati pralinam chayada chittam naite sham drishyate gatihi. We'll read verse 13. Jagratya picha vidvamsam pīdayanti nate tatha avidvamsam yatha lokam daya patram cha sarvada. Okay. So what we have been seeing in this book, Manah Shodhanam, is that we have some characteristics in our mind. You know, some impurities are there in our mind. And what it said in verse 12 is that all these impurities that are seen in the mind, they are seen only when the mind is in waking state. So only when the mind is in jagrat or waking state, these impurities are seen. And in deep sleep state, these impurities are not seen because the mind is there in waking state, but the mind is not there in deep sleep state. So what this is saying is all the qualities of the mind and the mind itself and the ego itself, all of these are seen only in waking state, but they're not seen in deep sleep state. So this cannot be my nature. This cannot be who I really am. Because if this was who I really am, then I would be this all the time. The nature of something is that which never leaves it. The nature of sugar is sweetness. So sweetness will never leave sugar. It will never leave sugar. Sugar will always be sweet. Sugar can be white. Sugar can be brown. Sugar can be granules. Sugar can be cubes. That's the incidental property of sugar. But the sweetness of sugar will always be there. Correct? Fire can sometimes appear yellow, sometimes can appear orange, sometimes can appear red, sometimes blue. But the heat of fire will always be there. So that heat is essential to fire, without which fire cannot exist. That sweetness is essential to sugar, without which it isn't sugar. Sugar doesn't exist. That consciousness or awareness is essentially who we are. Without that, we cannot exist. the mind, the body, and the qualities and properties of the mind and body, they are only incidental. They come and they go. The ego, the individuality, who we take ourselves to be, that is also incidental. That notion of the ego comes and it goes. So that is not you. That is not me. So what this text is saying, let's get to the deeper understanding of who we are exactly. So then here he continues the text to say that the mind actually is not the issue here, or the body. It is our attitude. Because like we said, this mind, these bodies, these minds, these identities, they're not us. They're not us. When we attach ourselves to them, when we think that we are them, we become a daya patra. Daya patra means somebody who is pitiable. Somebody who is pitiable, someone who is in a pitiable condition. But when we are able to disidentify with our body, our mind, our intellect, our egos, we are daya, we are the ocean of compassion. We are the wise people. What we call here vidvan. Vidvamsam is vidvan. Somebody who's wise is able to detach from their body, mind, intellect, ego. Somebody who's otherwise is so attached to it. Now, let us just see what people do with their minds. Let us see what, first level, what ignorant people do with their minds. Second, what seekers do to their mind. Third is what the wise people do with their mind. Let us examine all of the attitudes and see where we are. Somebody who is totally ignorant, not knowing that they are not the mind, they think that they are the mind, is constantly, they're constantly pricked by the mind. Because the mind is so, it is so volatile. It's every day we have so many thoughts. And so there are people who simply, they cannot deal with their mind. They try to escape from it. So some people will go into drugs. Why? Because it numbs the mind. When somebody is taking some kind of substance, it numbs the mind. Some people will go into alcohol because at that point in time, they're not dealing with their mind. They just they don't want to deal with their mind. So they'll numb the mind through drugs, through alcohol. Some people will numb the mind through constantly watching TV. They don't want to deal with the world. They don't want to deal with their mind. So they try to escape from it by just binge watching. Because if I binge watch, I don't have to think of my mind. Or some people, they become shopaholics. Let me just shop and buy and go here and go there and go there. Because if I'm quiet, I'll have to deal with my mind and I don't know how to deal with it. Or some people will just eat a lot of junk, keep eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. So there are people who try to escape being with their minds because they don't know what to do with it. And so you will find sometimes they're always with the headphones on because they have to constantly be listening to something, because without it, I don't know what to do with my mind. So this is how the ignorant person deals with their mind, in the sense that they cannot deal with their mind. They try to escape from their mind. They try to just get away from it because they don't know how to face it. It's got so many thoughts, so many raging thoughts. Some of them are not good. Some of them are negative, sometimes positive. But whatever it is, it's just jumping at such a frequency that they don't know how to deal with it. Now, we'll come to a seeker. What does a seeker do? A seeker knows that, listen, this mind is a tool. This mind is a tool for me, and I must purify it. I must purify it. So a seeker takes their mind and immerses themselves in these yogas, the three yogas, three key yogas. One is karma yoga. Let me engage the mind in selfless service. Let me do everything as a dedication towards the higher. Let me serve, let me give, let me use my mind wisely. Or they'll engage in bhakti yoga. Let me use the mind to worship the divine. I was talking about the number 108 with all of the children and adults. Well, 108 is such a beautiful number, so we use it to chant Ashtotara, like 108 names of the divine, or sometimes 1,000 names of the divine. Or we use it to sing, to revel, to write. And what do we do with our intellect? Jnana yoga. We use it to seek. We use it to seek the truth. We use it to study. So the seekers know, like, this mind is quite volatile. And this mind needs constant care, constant attention. So let me dip the mind in these three yogas. Let me use it to serve society. Let me use it to worship the divine. Let me use it to seek the higher through study, through reflection. Let me keep using it in all of these methods so that it continues to purify. Because it is a gift that I've been given. And for me to function in society well, I must train the mind. I must use the mind for a greater purpose. But what happens with seekers is we get too attached. So let us say we are engaged in selfless service. We're engaged in selfless service. There are times where we won't have that experience in our life. And whenever we don't have that experience, we'll be sad. We'll be sad. Oh, it was over. We were engaged in such a beautiful, big project that really worked for the welfare of everybody, and all of our attention was going towards it, going towards it. And now that project or that status, everything is over. Then the mind feels like, oh, now I feel down. I feel bummed out. Or those people who are engaged in bhakti yoga. I remember we had Swaranjali, and it was in the theme of Sri Rama. And we were all engaging in beautiful bhajans and singing the name of God. And after that, there's a down, there's like a down because it's a downer. No more, the bhajan session ends. But the mind feels like, oh, I still want that. I want that again and again and again. I still want that. Nothing wrong with that. But the mind again is trying to get back that same experience again and again and again. Then with the intellect, we feel very high, or we feel like we're on a high when we're learning something deeply, when we're studying something that's so subtle and so true. The intellect gets on like a good high, but after that it's over. So with all of this, we still get attached. We still get attached. Even if we're purifying the mind in the realm of karma yoga or bhakti yoga or jnana yoga, we still get attached. But a wise person uses their mind to purify, but is very much detached. A wise person knows that the mind will also go through things. The mind will go through its ups, will go through its downs. A wise person knows I am not the mind, and the mind is my tool. My mind is my instrument. So I'll give you an example. Let us say a phone. Everybody has a phone, right? It's an instrument. It's a tool. I am not my phone, but it's a tool for me. It's a tool for me. And with this phone, I'm able to use it to do, either I can use it to do something great for the world, or I can use it to do something damaging. It has a power where I can use it to do something great or use it to do something damaging. And this phone comes with some set apps, right? Depending on the kind of phone that we have, it comes with some apps that are already there. And then this phone also needs charging, correct? So it gets, the battery gets low, then we can't use it anymore. It needs charging. And this phone also needs Wi-Fi, most important, Wi-Fi, correct? Yeah. So now imagine our mind is like a phone. Our mind is like a phone wherein it has the potency to do something tremendously great for the world or tremendously damaging. Mind has that potential to do either something great or something damaging. The mind also comes with its set apps. So it comes like if you, any phone that you get, there's an app for clock, there's an app for calendar, there's an app for calculator. It comes with set apps. Our mind comes with sattva, rajas, tamas. The guna of sattva, sattva guna means that calmness, quietude. Rajas, rajasic mind means that which is very dynamic and active. And tamas or tamasic mind, that which is dull. So our minds will come with these three. Our minds are actually these three, sattva, rajas and tamas. They'll have that. So that is their set apps. Just as the phone needs to be charged, our mind needs to be charged through the bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga. Our mind needs constant charging. And just like the phone has to be connected to Wi-Fi, we have to be connected to God or the truth. Otherwise, we don't function. We can't do much with the phone. Correct? When we're not connected to Wi-Fi, we can't do much. We can only make a phone call. But who does that, right? Nobody does that. We just send messages. Correct? So, the same way when our mind is connected to that Wi-Fi, which is that God, which is that truth, then it can function very well. And the most important thing is what? I am not my phone. I am not my phone, so I am not my mind. So if there's some dysfunction that happens in my mind, it's okay. If some shortage happens, some loss of memory happens in my mind, it's okay. If aging happens in my mind, it's okay, because I am not my mind. It's a beautiful instrument. It's a gift from God. So I will use it to purify. I will use it to purify in all the fields. But if something happens to it, it's okay because I am not my mind. Same way, I will use my body to the best of my ability. I will exercise, I'll sleep well, I will eat healthy, I'll do what I can so that I can give more to others. When I'm more disciplined in terms of my body, I can give more to others. But if my body gets pricked with disease, if my body ages, if something happens to my body, it's okay because I am not my body. I'm not my body. So the wise person knows I am not my body, I am not my mind. These are tools for me. I will use it to the best of my ability. These are tools, these are not just tools, they're gifts from God. And I will use it to my best capacity to give that back to society, to give that back to the community as a service to the divine, and know that I am ever detached from it. This is why the wise person is free. For those who are ignorant, they identify so much with the body and the mind. It will have its limitations. It will have its shortcomings because that's its nature. The nature of the body is to grow, to decay, to be born and to die. This is the nature of the body. The nature of the mind is to go through stages where it is supremely sattvic. It is very, very focused, alert. It will go through some rajasic moments where it's dynamic, and it will go through some tamasic moments where it's dull and sleepy, etc. It will do that. That's not to say that I shouldn't bring my mind back to a sattvic state. I should. But recognize that if the mind is sleepy, it's okay. If the mind is too alert, active, it's okay. If the mind is so pure and calm, it's okay. These things will happen to the mind. And they're a tool. The mind is a tool. I can fix it. I can make it work. But know that these are the conditions that will happen in my mind. It's okay. So a wise person is not pricked by the mind. The ones who are ignorant are so identified with it. And that's why the ignorant ones are called daya patra. pitiable. With us seekers, we might know that the mind is a tool, but we still get attached to it. We still get attached to it. We still want to excessively control it to be a certain way. And to a great extent, we can control the mind, to a great extent. But remember, not to a full extent. Nobody has ever been able to control their mind to a full extent, because it has its own nature. So this is the difference. It's how we treat the body and we treat the mind. Even an enlightened being has a body, has a mind, but they treat it very differently from how a wise person treats their body and mind. So why does this wise person have this knowledge? What made this wise person realize? And why is this ignorant person still bogged down by the body and mind? So now let us see from today, verse 14. I'll chant and then you can repeat. Tasmadajnanamevatra sarvada dukkha karanam tatsvarupam hinyatavyam vicharena dhunamaya. Chant together. Tasmadajnanamevatra sarvada dukkha karanam tatsvarupam hinyatavyam vicharena dhunamaya. So what is the real cause of sorrow? It is not the body or the mind, it is the ignorance that we have towards the body and mind. So here it says, tasmat, therefore, ajnanam eva, ignorance alone, atra, here, sarvada, always, dukkha karanam. Ignorance is always, alone, the cause of sorrow. Tat swarupam hi nyatavyam. Its swarupa, its nature, its mode of operation, nyatavyam, should be known. How? Vicharena, by inquiry, aduna, now itself, by me, maya. Therefore, ignorance alone is the cause of sorrow. Through inquiry, I should understand its nature and mode of operation. So what is the cause of sorrow? The cause of sorrow in all of our lives, every single sorrow that we are experiencing, that we have experienced, that we are experiencing, that we will experience, is only due to ignorance. Not one thing. It's not, so remember, it's not the body and it's not the mind. Because both a wise person has a body and an ignorant person has a body and mind. But the way the wise use it is very different from the way the ignorant person uses it. Is it the circumstance? No. Because we have seen both people in poverty who are ignorant and very wise. And so in fact, some people who are wise choose to live in poverty because there's less trouble for them. So is it the circumstance that's causing us sorrow? No. Is it our families that are causing us sorrow? We might have, let us say, a small family. You think about these realized saints and sages, they have to deal with whole communities. We think we have a family, we have a career, we have to balance all of these things. Please think, somebody like Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda ji had 350 or centers to deal with, 300 monks to deal with, all over the world, in different parts, every single day. So it is not that they didn't have anything. Well, they had even more than us. Is it their career? Is it the career that's cause of the sorrow? No. We might have careers here. They were full time sharing this knowledge. As what I mentioned to the children, 8 dedicated to that one. So the circumstance is not the cause of sorrow. The career is not the cause of sorrow. The family is not the cause of sorrow. And even this body, this mind is not the cause of sorrow. The cause of sorrow is ignorance. That is the cause of sorrow. And this ignorance, it thrives when we ignore. When we ignore life and we just go by life just like that without questioning, thinking deeply, what is life? Why am I here? What am I to do in this life? When we keep ignoring that, that's how ignorance thrives. Ignorance thrives when we ignore. And so the solution for ignorance is knowledge. Question, inquire, think. So this is not the path of telling us you read and believe. No, think. And this ignorance is twofold. 2 layers of this ignorance. I'll tell you the Sanskrit terms first, then I'll translate. The first of the layers of ignorance is Atmani Anatma Buddhi, which means in me, who is that self? Who is that pure awareness? Who is that consciousness? I think myself to be Anatma. So in Atma, the self, awareness, consciousness, I think myself to be Anatma. I think myself to be the body. I think myself to be the mind, the intellect, and this ego, Shubhani. That is ignorance. That is ignorance. Because we all know that these are fleeting. I already explained to you the body, the mind, the intellect, the ego, they're fleeting. They arrive and depart. And even if they arrive and depart, I am always there. That means this is not me. So to think that this is me is ignorance. The second type of ignorance is Jagati Satyatva Buddhi. To take the world to be real, that is also ignorance. And that is what's going to be expounded upon. But to take the world to be real, that's also ignorance. So now let's first tackle the thinking myself to be the body, mind, and intellect. Let us just tackle that. What does this ignorance lead us to? Okay. So I take myself to be the body. When I take myself to be the body, what happens? I identify with all the properties of the body. So if my body is tall, I feel I'm tall. If my body is short, I feel I'm short. If my body is strong, I feel strong. If it's weak, it's weak. So I constantly identify with the body. I go up and down with the body. Then remember, the body will go up and down. And so I'm always in this sorrow, in this sense of limitation, because you might say, why can't I identify with my body if it's beautiful? I'm a beautiful body. But wait, that body is going to also grow old, right? Why can't I identify my body is so strong, so wonderful, so amazing? Wait, that body is also going to grow weak. That body will also go through mistakes. So when I keep doing that, it will just keep me in sorrow. It'll just keep me in sorrow. So this way, in this level, we feel sorrow when we identify with the limited. Now today, we're also going to focus on the second layer of ignorance, which is we give reality to this world. And giving reality to this world is ignorance. Now, some of you might say, how is this, what do you mean by this? See, in Vedanta, first let's define what the world is, okay? I just follow my thought process. The world is names and forms. It's experiences, okay? Experiences. The Gurudev always defines life by a series of experiences. So it's names and forms and a set of experiences. Nama, Rupa, Vyavahara, according to our Upanishads. Now, just think, how do we experience the world? How do we experience the world? We experience the world through seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. Correct? So through my sense of sight, I'm able to see the forms of the world. Through my ears, I'm able to hear the sounds. Through smell, I'm able to smell things. Through taste, taste things. Through touch, touch things. So we experience the world through our 5 senses. So if somebody does not have the sense of hearing, what happens? They don't experience sound. Experience of the world will be a little bit less for them. If somebody does not have the ability to touch, right? Sometimes our sense of touch goes numb. They will not experience that part of the world, that side of the world. When during COVID, some people lost their ability to taste. So that they will not be able to experience that of the world. So the objects of the world, our experience depends on our sense organs. Now, what do our sense organs depend on? Our sense organs depend on the mind, because even if you're looking at me, you might not be experiencing me if the mind is not here. Even if you're hearing me, you're hearing these things, these words, you might not be experiencing because the mind is not there. So the mind has to work with the senses to experience the world. Otherwise, something could be in front of you, and then people are asking you, did you see that? And your mind is somewhere else. No, I didn't see anything. Did you see that? Then, oh, okay, I saw, right? Why? Your eyes are looking there, but the mind was not there. So now we need the mind to go through the sense organs to experience the world of sense objects. Now, does the mind work on its own? No. That mind is illumined by consciousness or by awareness. It is through consciousness illumining the mind, which illumines the senses, that we experience the world of sense objects, names, forms, and we have experiences. So my experience of the world is what? Where is it taking place? Where is my experience of the world taking place? In consciousness. How is my experience of the world taking place? Through consciousness. My experience of the world is taking place in consciousness. My experience of the world is taking place through consciousness. Correct? Now, something even deeper. Can this world exist without consciousness? Have we ever experienced this world without consciousness? Anybody has ever experienced this world without consciousness, without awareness? The world is dependent on consciousness, which means the world is nothing but consciousness, actually. The world is nothing but consciousness, actually. So it is not only that it is in consciousness, it is experienced through consciousness, but the world is actually a play of consciousness. It is just consciousness. Because it cannot be experienced without it. It is like the famous example that is given. It is like gold. So you take gold, and that same gold, you can make a gold bracelet, gold necklace, gold earring, gold chain. Now, what is happening in the bracelet? It is gold plus the name bracelet, the form of bracelet, and the usage of bracelet. What is happening with gold necklace? It is that substance gold, with that form necklace, the name necklace, and the usage. Now I can put it around my neck. Yes? So there is a gold bracelet, there is a gold necklace, and all of them have different names, they have different forms, they have different functions. But let us say you remove the gold from there. Will there be a bracelet or a necklace? No, you can't have it. There won't be any bracelet, there won't be any necklace. The name, the form, the usage depends upon the substance. In the same way, this world, these senses, this body, this mind, all depend upon consciousness. If we remove consciousness from the equation, there is no world actually. So what we are saying is that the world, because the world depends on consciousness, because the world exists in consciousness, because the world is nothing but consciousness, we say the world on its own is unreal. The world in its true nature is actually consciousness. It's actually consciousness. So when we understand this, that this world is actually just consciousness with different names, with different forms, with different functions, then our attitude towards the world is very, very different. It's very different because we understand that it's that one consciousness appearing as many. Like that one gold is appearing as many bracelets, many bangles, many earrings. It's that one consciousness appearing as many. Now, I will give you one other example that they give in the Upanishads. It's the example of the dream. Very famous example. The Upanishads, it says that the world is like a dream. I'm sure you've heard this in regular, in Hindi or in our languages. They say, Sab Maya hi hai. Everything is Maya, right? Everything is Maya. This we've heard. What does that exactly mean? It means that this world is like a dream. In the dream, your mind is projecting a whole dream world. Correct? That dream world has the sky, it has the sun, the moon, all those things, all stars, everything is there. The dream world, let us say you're dreaming, you're in a beach somewhere, enjoying let's say we have a summer dream. Okay, now because it's winter, you have a summer dream. You're enjoying the sun, you're enjoying the waves by the ocean. There are other people around you in the dream. You are having a nice, I'll say mocktail, because we're in Vyavahara, mocktail. You are having a nice mocktail and you are sitting there and you're just relaxing. You don't even have your phone, no work calls, no laptop, nothing, and you put your feet up and bliss. This is your dream. And your family is also there, but they're doing something else. They're very busy and you're happy that they're all doing their own thing. Very happy. So you are in this dream. Now in this dream, think about it. That whole dream is your mind. That whole dream is the sun. The whole dream is the beach. The beach is part of the dream. The sun, the chair, the mocktail, you are part of the dream, your family is part of the dream, everything is part of the dream, and everything is taking nice, beautifully, nice taking place in the dream. You're enjoying so much in the dream, and then you have to wake up. They say, oh mom, dad, get up, we have to go to Vyavahara. Okay. Huh? Now, when you wake up, what happened to that whole dream? It's gone, right? You realize that was just actually your mind. It was a play of your mind. It was a play of your mind, that the mind actually appeared as the whole dream. Mind appeared as the whole dream. The same way we say that consciousness appears as the whole world. So just as the mind is able to appear as the whole dream, not both the living and non-living things, many things, both you and your family, everything. The mind appears as everything in the dream. consciousness appears as everything in the world. And that's why the world is nothing but consciousness in essence. Now, this might seem very like, so many questions will come, so many questions, because this is a very deep thought in our scriptures. How is it possible? So many questions will come, but see, waking world seems like it's so practical, right? You earn money and you can use it in the waking world. I cannot, all this money that I earn, I can't use it in my dream state. I make money in the waking world, I work hard and I can use it. I can buy a house, I can rent a house, I can get a car. But I can't use it in dream state. So this state is real. Then the contrary question is, in dream state you earn money. You have a dream that you're earning money. And you buy a beautiful house. Can you use that dream money in waking? No. So it works the same way. You can't use the waking money in dream. You can't use the dream money in waking. So both are unreal. A question comes, but wait. Waking seems like it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time making, there's 365 days a year, and there's 12 months a year, there's so many years, and everything seems to be taking such a long time. In dream, what happens? I wake up right away. But in your dream, do you feel like it's 2 minutes? No. Some people go through a whole lifetime in the dream. When you're in dream also, you feel like it's so long. You feel like it's so long. Oh wow, for 2 days or 3 days I'm going through an experience, or for years I'm going through an experience. So it's not a question also of time. So because in the waking state I feel like time is so long, in dream also we feel time is long. In waking state we feel like things are useful, in dream also things are useful. But wait. In waking state, there is an inside and outside. Means I experience things in my mind, but I'm also experiencing things with other people. Like in my mind, there are certain thoughts which only I can experience. But there are certain things which all of us can experience together. Like this table, we are all experiencing it together. So in my waking state, there is inside, there is outside. Where is that in dream? In dream also there can be inside and outside. In dream I can be dreaming of a nice cookie, and outside also I can be sitting with my family in the beach. Just think about that. There's also inside and outside. And when you wake up, it's all gone. It's all merged into your mind. So that argument doesn't hold good. But when I'm in waking, I feel like it's real. I feel it's real. But when you're in dream also, you feel it's real. So that feeling of reality, that is not a pramana. That is not a truth. Okay, feelings, emotions, they're not truths in themselves. Because our feelings keep changing. So I feel like this waking state is so real. Well, dream also, you feel like it's real. So what we clearly see is that just as dream is an experience illumined by consciousness, waking is also an experience illumined by consciousness. Just as the whole dream merges into the mind, or the whole mind appears as the dream, that consciousness appears as the world. Without the mind, there's no dream person, dream objects, dream place. Without consciousness, there is no world. So we say that this world has an apparent reality. It doesn't have its own reality. It is just an appearance of consciousness. So now, first, I'll just leave you with how the wise see the world and what they would do with the world. The next week we will go to how the other wise see the world. Okay? So what's the good of knowing this? What is the good of knowing this? See, the good of knowing this is, first of all, how the wise people then see the world is just oneness. Because they understand it is all consciousness. So if you take, let us say, a gold bracelet, what's going to stand out to us? The name and the form. Oh, this is 24 karat gold or 18 karat gold, whatever. And it's looking so nice. We get lost in the names and forms of things. But the wise person understands it's just gold. Why are you so carried away with it? In the same way, in the world, when we get so lost in the names and forms and so many things of the world, the wise have their vision in consciousness. Whereas another scenario, what we try to do is we try to control the world. Because we feel like there's so many things happening. There's so many things happening. How can you say the world is not real? There's so many things happening. There's wars happening. People are dying every day. So much conflict is going on. How can you say it's not real? And will this attitude leave someone to just not do anything about it at all? We are saying that the world is an appearance in consciousness, and because of that, the wise don't have that idea that, just leave the world alone. The wise know that this is the world and it will constantly change. And as a person, as a being, I can contribute to the world. If there is something that is so meaningful for me, that I really feel for, I can contribute to the world. But please remember, we can never control the world. We cannot control the world because there are too many factors that are happening. So the wise say, look, this world is nothing but consciousness. Let me always keep my vision on oneness. And in that, let me do what I can to contribute to the world. Knowing that it will change, knowing that I have no control, let me use my body, mind, and intellect, which are tools, to give to the world. But let my focus always be on that oneness which lies beyond the world. This is how the wise live. When we think the world is so real, we get too affected by it. And how we get affected by it, we will see next week, the chain of events of how from thinking that the world is real, then what happens, then what happens, then what happens. We will see this whole chain of events. Okay? We have just a few minutes. Anybody have any questions before we close?
So, my question kind of just a thought right now is what are we trying to say here? Consciousness, the world is real or not real, or
It's not real. Means it doesn't exist apart from consciousness. That's what we are saying. So the world that we all see, it is just actually consciousness.
What other state exists apart from consciousness? I'm trying to figure out. If there is, my whole experience to this world is consciousness.
It's consciousness.
Dream
or waking. Correct.
Then I'm just trying to figure out what would I know that I don't know right now that would sort of if my whole experience is only about consciousness, what else is there?
That's all there is. That's all there is. Yeah. That's all there is. But we will next week, because I'm doing portion by portion, next week we'll go through it more, then that understanding will become clearer. But for today now, what we spoke was quite serious, so please give some thought to it. Don't just close your book and go home and go eat ice cream and all of that. Think about it properly, because this is a serious thing. This is not some casual thing that we're doing here. This is the depth of our scriptures. Okay? All right. Say the closing prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. This consciousness.